Alright, welcome to my next game. This is a game I've been meaning to get to for a while now. Yep, we're finally getting around to doing the original, technically, Metal Gear Solid. The version that I am playing right now is the Twin Snakes version. That is the remake of the original game for the Nintendo GameCube. It is the version that I grew up with. It's the version of the game that I played first. Because I'm sure, like a lot of people, my first experience with Metal Gear Solid was with Metal Gear Solid 2 on the PS2. I never owned a PS1. So the first time I was really introduced to the original game
the nuclear weapons
was on the
disposal
GameCube.
facility on Shadow Moses Island in Alaska's Fox Archipelago was attacked and captured by next-generation special forces being led by members of Foxhound. They are demanding that the government turn over the remains of Big Boss, and they say that if their demands are not met within 24 hours, they'll launch a nuclear weapon.
Even though I do like 3 and 4 a lot better, the original game will always have a soft spot in my heart. Although, just a little word of warning, it is the most cutscene-heavy game in the series.
DARPA Chief Donald Anderson and the President of Armstech, Kenneth Baker. Both are being held as hostages. Secondly, you're to investigate whether or not the terrorists have the ability to make a nuclear strike, and stop them if they do.
What's the insertion method?
We'll approach the disposal facility by sub.
And then?
We'll launch a one-man SDV.
So one of the really good things about this game is that most, if not all, of the original cast are back in this game. Which actually originally wasn't going to happen. They originally didn't have enough money to pay all of the cast members, but David Hayter actually took a pay cut so that other people could be in the game, and I think that's always really cool, and
you'll have to swim.
Major props to David Hayter for that.
Special Forces Unit Foxhound, your former unit, and one that I was the commander of.
So they're still around.
There are 6 members of Foxhound involved in this terrorist activity. Psycho Mantis, with his powerful psychic abilities. Sniper Wolf, the beautiful and deadly sharpshooter. Decoy Octopus, master of disguise. Vulcan Raven, giant and shaman. And Revolver Ocelot, specialist in interrogation and a formidable gunfighter. And finally, in charge of them, Foxhound squad leader, Liquid Snake.
Liquid Snake.
So my personal favorite part of this game is that since it's not developed directly by Kojima Productions and instead by Silicon Knights, Kojima was not the one who directed the cutscenes in this game. That was someone else, and the person who did it took a lot of inspirations from Western movies like The Matrix,
covers the whole island.
And
I'll instruct you by code
that can make a lot of the cutscenes really ridiculous.
As always,
So this game is fairly crazy.
Weapons and equipment OSP.
Yes. This is a top secret black op. Don't expect any official support.
So that brings us right to the main menu. So yeah, there are a lot of differences cutscene-wise between this and the original game, but for the most part, the dialogue and events that happen are exactly the same. I have played the original game, just for clarification. And maybe somewhere down the road I'll do it, but I just much prefer this version. Another reason why I chose to do this version instead of the original was that you can actually see characters' faces in this version, which is a real big plus in my book. I do believe it runs on the Metal Gear Solid 2 engine, or at least graphically it's made to look a lot more like Metal Gear Solid 2, which is good because it keeps it consistent. This game was being developed at the same time that Metal Gear Solid 3 was, which is why Kojima Productions did not do this game.
Stay alert. He'll be through here. I know it. I'm going to swat down a couple of bothersome flies.
Like I said, pretty much every single character is voiced by their original voice actor, with the exception of one person. Oh, the game froze. Nah, it just takes a while to get into the first codec for some reason.
This is Snake. Colonel, can you hear me?
Loud and clear. What's the situation, Snake?
Looks like the elevator in the back is the only way up.
Just as I expected. You'll have to take the elevator to the surface, but make sure nobody sees you. If you need to, contact me by codec. The frequency is 140.85. When you want to use the codec, push the pause button and then the A button. When we need to contact you, the codec will beep. When you hear that noise, press the pause button and then the A button to receive the call. The codec's receiver directly stimulates the small bones of your ear. No one but you will be able to hear it.
I do like how they explain that, you know, the Genome Soldiers can't hear the codec. Like, they didn't need to, but they did, and it's a neat little touch. But here we go, first little gameplay in Metal Gear Solid. If you go under the water here, you can pick up a whole bunch of items. And by a whole bunch, I think there's like 2 things in here, maybe? We're in an area that I consider to be fairly iconic. Well, this whole game is iconic. You could take a single screen of this game, show it to somebody, and they'll say, oh, that's from Metal Gear Solid. And I love his strut. I mean, you could tell by the way he walks, he's a woman's man. No time to talk. Press the X button while against cover to duck. Press the Y button while facing in the direction you want to, and you'll go up. Press the Z button, and you'll get a first-person mode, which is different in this game. B button lets you do some attacks. X crouches, and then if you press a direction forward while crouching, you go and start crawling. Okay. They're just gonna skip that codec. The AI is a lot better in this game than they were in the original game. They will hear your footsteps. They are a little bit better with sight. Their cone of vision is a tad bit better. See, they just heard me in that puddle there, which is going to give me ample enough time to run around them. The name of the game here is Evasion. At least that's what I like to do. In this game, it's better to avoid the enemies than to take them down stealthily. And it just feels cool to just be able to run around a room without, like, having anybody see you. So for the most part, I'm not going to engage any of the enemies. I probably won't get seen because I'm fairly good at not getting seen in this game.
Is there somebody there?
If you just hide behind this little forklift here, no one should see you. This is like the one place in the game that you're just strictly invisible. Once that guy goes away and then the other guy turns around, we can make a run for the elevator. Come on. I've been behind this forklift for like a good minute now. And the fact that you can look in first person is such a good thing in this game. Such an improvement. And now we get one of my favorite openings to a Metal Gear game. At least in my opinion, this is one of the greatest ones. Oh, that music. Yeah, the music in this game is not done by Harry Gregson Williams. It's a completely different score, which means some of the more iconic, themes will be absent from the game, but it will give the soundtrack more diversity, which is cool. And one of the things that I've heard a lot about this game, and I agree with 100%, is that this game is the first time that you actually notice that Liquid and Solid are twins. Because in the first game, you have nothing to go off of. It's just a blank face with some lines that's supposed to indicate eyes and a mouth.
It's Snake. I'm in front of the disposal facility.
Excellent, Snake. Age hasn't slowed you down one bit.
There are just some lines in this game that are really iconic, and that one is one of them. Age hasn't slowed you down one bit. And Ground Zeroes will actually reference that in that opening cutscene.
Take it easy. I'm grateful. If it weren't for your suit and your shot, I would have turned into a popsicle out there.
A snake-sicle.
Peptide snake. All of the genome soldiers in this exercise are using it.
I see. I'm relieved to hear that. Already tested, huh? By the way, how's the diversionary operation going?
2 F-16s just took off from Galena and are headed your way. The terrorist radar should have already picked them up.
ID. Colonel.
What's a Russian gunship doing here?
That's another one of those just super iconic lines, in my opinion.
But it looks like our little diversion got their attention. Now's your best chance to slip in unnoticed.
Well, too bad the game won't actually let me do that, because we've got to get a tutorial first. This is the only game in the series where there's like an actual straight-up tutorial.
Hours left until their deadline. You've got to hurry.
Wow, he must be crazy to fly hind in this kind of weather.
Who's that?
Oh, sorry. I haven't introduced you two yet. This is Mei Ling. She was assigned to us as our visual and data processing specialist. She designed your codec, as well as your Soliton radar system. Contact her if you have any questions about either of them.
Nice to meet you, Snake. It's an honor to speak to a living legend like yourself.
This is the best change in the Twin Snakes.
I just didn't expect.
It's the same voice actors. It's still Kim, my guest. But they fixed her voice. She's no longer a stereotypical, somewhat racist Chinese accent.
What's this? I'm being hit on by the famous Solid Snake?
They'll actually keep this accent consistent in Metal Gear Solid 4 when she shows up.
Looks like we both have a lot to learn about each other.
It does, doesn't it? Well, let's get to know each other better.
But another thing that you might have noticed is that Jennifer Hale is back as Naomi, and she plays it with just a straight-up American accent. Whereas in the original version, she had a British accent. And I don't really know which one I like more. I kind of like the British accent a little bit more. Then again, Naomi's never really been a character that I've cared too much about.
First, I want you to infiltrate the disposal site and look for the DARPA chief.
The DARPA chief was injected with the same GPS transmitting nanomachines as you.
He should appear on your radar as a green dot.
Get whatever information you can from him about the terrorists. If he's alive, that is.
Snake, your radar isn't affected by the weather, but if you're discovered by an enemy, you won't be able to use it.
Yes, it gets jammed easily, I'm afraid.
Yes, it's all made from currently existing technology. You won't be able to use it in an area with strong harmonic resonance, so be careful.
We'll be monitoring your movements by radar, so contact us by codec anytime you want.
Got it. I'll call if I'm feeling lonely.
If all goes according to
Seriously,
plan, I should probably
we're here to
always
back
have
you
full
up,
use of
so
my
call
radar. I
if you
don't
need some
plan on
information
getting
or
caught.
I'm also in charge of your mission data. Contact me if you want me to save your current status. My frequency is 140.96. It's a dedicated frequency for saving data. Don't forget it.
Remember, except for your binoculars, you need to arm yourself with whatever weapons you can find.
Yeah, I don't know. The voice cast in this game
Remember.
is
First
one of my
I
favorite
strip
things about the
searched
Twin
by Dr.
Snakes because it's
Naomi
really
here.
when
Then
they...
all my weapons are taken
They've had a
away.
couple Metal Gear
Imagine
games
yourself
under their
put in
belts
that
at this
position.
point, so they feel a lot
Well,
more
if you make it
comfortable in
back
their
in one
roles.
piece, maybe
And
I'll
that's
let
what I
you do a
really
strip
like.
search on me.
I'll hold you to that, Doctor. By the way, sorry to disappoint you, but I did manage to smuggle out my smokes.
How did you do that?
In my stomach. Thanks to the shot you gave me that suppressed my stomach acids.
Cigarettes? How are those going to help you?
You never know.